Socializing? Yes. Dancing? No. Meeting sexual partners? Yes. When you were younger, what influenced the way you viewed sex, relationships and romance? For example, friends, films, television, etc. Lots of things, I suppose. When I was back in my teens, my best friend Lily had been desperately in love with the brooding character of Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. We must have watched that bloody series over 20 times, but I still remember the day that Lily announced that she thought all women secretly craved a man who was a bit of a moody bad boy like Darcy. I'd laughed in her face, and in the way that only soppy pre-romance teenagers can, had declared that I would never want a bad boy, only a loving, compassionate and gentle man like the princes in fairy tales. It makes me feel old to think about it, but quite a few years have passed since that conversation with Lily. I'm no longer a silly teenager with dreams of fairy tale love. In fact, I'm probably rather bitter, having done the relationship thing a few times now, all unsuccessfully, and to be honest, rather unsatisfactorily. It's funny this question is on here, though, because for some reason, Lily's words came back to me this afternoon as I sat debating my latest failed romance. After quite a bit of soul-searching, and at least half a tub of Ben & Jerry's finest chocolate chip ice cream, I realised that Lily's statement is quite possibly true for me. I've had gentle and caring boyfriends, but they've lost their appeal pretty quickly. Dull, and duller. So, I've decided that perhaps it's time I started branching out into brooding bad boy territory too. That's why I'm here, really. I want to join Club Twist to help me in my search. Even with my decision made, I still can't help wondering if the reality of being with a bad boy will live up to the fantasy. I suspect not, but I suppose there's only one way to find out. Give in this form, and then start my search. Chapter 1. Stella. Surely this can't be the place. Unconvinced, I glanced along the street again as I approached the blank exterior of what could only be described as an abandoned theatre. A big, boarded-up, empty-looking theatre that had probably seen its heyday back in the 70s. My shoulders sagged. It certainly didn't appear to be a trendy bar and nightclub, as I'd been led to believe. Damn! I'd sneaked out of work early and come all this way for a frigging wild goose chase. Sighing, I made the last few steps of my journey anyway, and then stopped to glance around the deserted street, curiously. I winced. It had a bit of a sleazy feel to it, actually. Run down, graffiti-covered, and generally just a little bit scummy. This part of the Soho district of London was totally unknown to me. Hell, the whole of Soho was unknown to me. I knew Ronnie Scott's jazz club was around here somewhere, and clearly from the sex shops I just walked past, the local community was somewhat exuberant in their tastes, shall we say, but that was the sum total of my knowledge. I myself lived up in Victoria Park, a nice leafy suburb of London that was such a complete contrast to the chewing gum-covered pavement where I was currently standing that I had to seriously doubt my sanity for coming here at all. Talk about out of your comfort zone. Mind you, the reason for my visit here today was even crazier, and a little relieved bubble of laughter escaped my throat as I realised that my trip was going to be a dud. A piece of newspaper blew along the street on the breeze, but even my swift sidestep couldn't stop it from wrapping its greasy pages around my ankle. Just bloody typical. Huffing impatiently, I leant on the theatre wall with a grimace as I tried to shake off the chip wrappings from where it clung to my bare leg. Ugh. Finally detaching it, I looked up at the broad white columns that lined the old entrance. Frowning, I looked closer. Actually, the building wasn't quite as shabby as I'd first believed. From a distance, I'd thought the windows were boarded up, but now I realised that they were covered by discreet but modern shutters. Narrowing my eyes, I wondered if perhaps I'd been wrong with my first assumption.